I want to talk Lions, but it's not the thing to do right now. I mean, but we got to fit it in. There is some breaking news today. Not so much breaking. You guys tell me how you assess the situation. But Kerby Joseph was limited today with a hamstring injury in practice. Me, personally, and maybe it's too much of a strong initial reaction, I hate it. Hamstring injuries aren't one to play with. Yeah. If you pay attention, the thing that falls up that makes me feel a little bit more at ease is the fact that he still remained limited in practice. But I got to find out when it happened. Did it happen yesterday? Did it happen today? When was he limited? Did he play partially? That's where I'm concerned, because a hamstring injury in the NFL, when it does happen, you're out at least 2 weeks. And for me personally, this matchup, I hate the Cowboys. I think it's well documented if you ever watched this show before. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. If you don't know, now you know. On top of me hating the Cowboys, the entire country hates the Cowboys, and all Detroit Lions fans hate the Cowboys after last year. I think the only way they have a snowball's chance in hell of winning that game on Sunday is if they're able to just do ungodly things with CeeDee Lamb. And I just don't think that's capable or be able to be consistent without at least a couple turnovers because of that man, Kerby Joseph. So a hamstring injury to Kerby Joseph this week. Don't sit right with your boy. I hate it, Chase. Absolutely hate it.
Oh, I get it. I mean, CeeDee Lamb had quite a game against us last year, but we also have a lot better players in our secondary with Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold, and hopefully we'll have Brian Branch back this game too. But I mean, those two corners right there are hands and feet above what we had last year with Cam Sutton and the Kendall Vildor, the wax putty we try to cover into the cracks of our pass defense. So obviously, yeah, I mean, I don't think I have like the same like rage towards the Cowboys as you seem to, Easy. But I mean, I definitely don't like them, and I definitely want to win this game. I expect us to, and I think the Cowboys are a little bit more fraudulent. Like, I think last year was a bit of a surprise. I thought they'd be a little like they'd fall off the cliff that we've seen more so this year. Like, I was kind of expecting that last season.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't like the most shocking thing in the world. I'm just kind of happy. I think Washington being better than them is pretty surprising. But
that is very surprising. Yeah, the Cowboys being that shouldn't be shocking to anybody with a brain. If you paid attention to like the entire situation going on last year when they won those games, they're against cupcake teams. It was a Michigan schedule of NFL schedules. They only beat the Eagles, which in your division you'll catch one. It'll happen. It'll fall in your lap just because it happened with us when we were terrible as Detroit Lions. You're gonna catch those. The one against us though, that was also gifted to you by the referees. Not a single game I believe they won against a team above 500 outside the Eagles and us.
Their roster is just uninspiring. I mean, you have the running back room is Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott were both in the inaugural college football playoff way back in 2015. I mean, it just goes to show you how long like these guys have been in the league. Ezekiel Elliott got, I think, drafted after that playoff, and then Dalvin Cook played, I think, 2 more years in college. He's a true freshman, but these guys they're cooked. And there's just I don't see how you can look at that team and have any expectations or hope of winning.
And it's crazy too because I've done a couple of radio spots this week and a couple podcasts too. Shout out to my guy Chef, but like they're asking me, concerns. Like what concerns you about these Cowboys? And it's crazy. And I don't know if it's a bias because I admittedly told you guys I hate them, but I'm with you, Chase. I don't see it. I will say this. For the first time during against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I saw, I guess, a little bit of a threat. Maybe a little. Rico Dotto finally got to run the football. I think he kind of found his identity behind that offensive line a little bit. And you're also looking across from him was the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that has been phenomenal all season. Granted, they played a couple, Garbo teams as well, and still early in the season. I respected that, and I respected Dak's ability to adapt in that game too. They sold out. They put Mika Fitzpatrick back there, so you couldn't go deep with CeeDee Lamb, and Dak got it done with dinking and dunking across the field with multiple tight ends, and I respect that of him. I respect that of Mike McCarthy. I just don't know if, that's when Justin Fields can only give you 20 points. That's not happening with Ben Johnson's offense against this Dallas Cowboys defense that can't stop any running backs on the entire season. Najee Harris is tripping over himself. You're not doing anything to stop him. David Montgomery's have a fucking field day. Yeah. And Frank Ragnall's back? Come on. Off a bye week? Come on.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell? Oh, come on.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about this game at all. I'm worried about, like you said, that hamstring, because there's like hamstring, Achilles, back. Those are ones that you can never fully quite gauge when 100% is. And if you're not 100%, you're very susceptible to being hurt for a more serious injury. So I just want Kerby, as great as he's been, one of the best safeties in the NFL. He's been vital to this team, especially early on, to help guys like Terry and Arnold who are growing into their roles. I think Kerby has been essential, but bringing Brian Branch back, and again the fact that I do see Dallas as an inferior opponent, even with knowing that they're gonna have the refs on their side because they always do.
Yeah, bullshit.
I'm not worried about this. I think this game might be a little closer than what it should be, just because of the boys in stripes. But ultimately, I think the Lions are gonna just destroy them. They can't stop that run game, like you said, at all. So I'm not really worried. I'm just focused on, getting everybody healthy for the time when it's needed. But right now, you gotta take advantage. Look, man, Minnesota is 5-0. Like you can't drop a game like this.
No.
Like, I know Microwave was hopping out the booth saying must win. But ultimately, you can't let the games like this slide, because Minnesota's proven to be a foe, and if you want to win this division, you're gonna have to take care of the teams that you should beat.
This is a team we should beat.
Yeah,
there's nothing in my mind. Fuck them. The high octane, the bullshit from last year. I mean, maybe if there's anything you could say, maybe a little overly emotionally charged from that game, but I don't believe that to be the case, because we bounced back right away, went about our biz, because understood that was just a bump in the road. It didn't completely throw you off. It wasn't going to throw you off. We were bigger and better than that moment, and we proved to be that. I even think, to be honest with you, that they're looking at this game as like a revenge game from last year. I think they're just looking at what it is. There may be a few guys there, but if you're a coach, Nate Campbell, I don't want you to get emotional about this one. I want you to pay attention to the X and O's that helped make this team great. Fuck last year. We're like I just said previously, we're bigger than that.
Let me counter that with one point, because I agree that you can get lost in your own hubris, and you can get like really just focused on something that you shouldn't be focused on. But my question to you, Easy, is when have you seen an emotional Lions team be a bad thing in terms of results? Because I can't recall one where, like, the games that they've been fired up, they dominated.
I just don't think
games.
they operate that way. I can't name you an emotional game from
the Carolina game last year.
No.
Did they play Carolina last year? And
it did, but it wasn't like an emotional game. I think it was just a game for like Carolina. That game was an anomaly.
You don't think there was
that was one of those?
Pop?
They're a really bad team too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, but like, okay,
that's what I said. Like when they beat us was an absolute anomaly. Actually, I'll tell you what. There's a emotionally charged game, and it was the Seattle game.
Yeah.
I think you look at that one a little bit emotionally charged. I think Dan Campbell was a little emotionally charged.
The Rams,
but
maybe?
in a different way. Not where you're pissed off or upset, just more so on that mission. You know what I'm saying? Because those games, as much as we lost them, outside of that very first year with Dan Campbell and Pete Carroll ran it up on us, got like 50 points, I think it was, they're pretty close. Like the game in 22 was close. Obviously, last year's game was close, and ultimately they came down. And I hate to know the Jared Goff fans hate to hear it, but the pick sixes were the difference in those games. Dan Campbell said so, his goddamn so. I think that's why it's more mission than emotionally charged. This one, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I think it could get there emotionally charged because you got fucked. You outplayed the team. You were about to say something, though, too, Chase. I apologize.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that the Lions are in that group of teams in the NFL, like where the Chiefs are. Obviously, they're the reigning champions, but there's only a handful of teams that truly each year have a chance to win based on coaching, roster construction, and health. And as long as we're healthy, I think it doesn't matter what seed we have in the playoffs. We have the team that can just smash it down your throat, punch you in the face every possession, and go and win a Super Bowl. I really am not getting too high or low on any of these regular season games. To me, it's just about making sure guys are staying healthy and we're getting into the playoffs. I want to win the division. I'd love the 1 seed so we get the home playoff games, but it's not, this season is not make or break on that. It's just stay healthy, get in the playoffs, and then that's when business starts.
Actually, real quick, too, it's a phenomenal point from a guy at Amon-Ra that actually been rocking with your boys since I was in the basement. Shout out to him or her. But he brought up the Seattle Seahawks game last year as an emotionally charged game.
I think last year was more emotionally charged than this year.
Absolutely. And then guess what happened? You lost.
Yeah, I think they played a little bit more even keeled this year, and we saw like they pretty much dominated that game.
Yeah.
That answers my question. Then.
Yeah, I don't want emotionally charged. I want in there to clean up business. And like Chase said, like I said, the Detroit Lions are bigger than that moment because there's just bigger business to attend to.
I've always just seen them as a team, or Dan Campbell specifically as a leader, being able to control the fire in a very good and productive way. So that was a great point to bring up that game. I wasn't thinking of that one.
Shout out Emerald Heights.
Yeah, shout out Emerald.